Hi everyone, I'm Natalie and you are at CoinsBank YouTube channel. Thanks for watching us. Today is our new episode and I was looking forward to having this person as my guest so much. With no sugarcoating, the first and the most elaborated and integral DeFi project, Maker Dao. According to Defi Pulse, it's the top lending project with 1.25 billion locked in US dollars. My guest today is Gustav Arentoft, Business Development at Maker Dao. Gustav, hi. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
How are you? How is everything with Maker DAO these days?
Everything is really good. We've seen a massive uptake in DeFi activity over the summer, and this of course reflected in us quite a bit as well. So I'm very busy, but things are very good.
I would like to start our conversation today with a bit of history. Maker DAO was created by Rune Christensen in 2015, before ICO boom, before everything, I would say. And I couldn't find any history about how Maker DAO was created. Can you please share with us, what was like?
Conceptually, it was just very different times back then, right? There was much less activity in the space. A lot of the people, they were kind of like these semi-crazy people. So, in a positive sense, right? Because, back then there was not really the promise and growth that we have seen in the recent years, right? So it was just a bunch of individuals who basically, met online and started forming, what today, 5 years later, is one of the most successful projects in this space. So it was just, an online community, an online gathering of people who had very big dreams.
Yeah. Probably. And can you, if you know the story of Maker DAO in the beginning, can you please share with us what was the main idea? What was it start before the Maker DAO was created as a project?
Sure. So I mean, there was Maker DAO and a lot of the things that we're trying to do at the foundation and pushing the protocol, right, is really like a response to what happened in the last financial crisis and building upon what Bitcoin set out to solve, right? So Bitcoin set out to really be this alternative financial system, right? Completely peer-to-peer, no financial intermediaries, no centralized parties, centralized, open, transparent. And what Maker really went in and tried to solve in that equation was that it was quite apparent that stability was lacking from it, right? So it tried to take all the initial things that Bitcoin set out to solve and then wanted to add stability to it, but maintaining it decentralized.
Mm-hmm.
But that is really the core ideal of the direction that Maker is going in, right? And that is what we're still following today, right? And the reference to the financial crisis in 2008, 2009 was really that back then there was simply a lack of transparency, a lack of understanding, and a lack of ability for people to interact with the financial systems on a governance level. That's why the approach that has been taken at Maker is really to have a protocol that is completely owned by the community, controlled by the community, and everything that happens is driven by the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everything that happens is completely transparent. So in that sense, you really are able to capture the benefits of the blockchain, right? Which is this a transparent ledger where all of us we can participate in this global ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
Translating that out to where we want to be where the foundation is trying to let the protocol come out in the future. That is really that that we people should be able to have an alternative to the traditional financial system, right? Another big problem was really that the financial system is extremely biased, right? The traditional financial system. Yeah. So depending on who you are, where you're from, your religion, your race, and so on, you will have wildly different opportunities, right? And you can even be bound by the local financial system around you to just give you worse opportunities in life. And this is where the Maker protocol can come in and provide an alternative. So DeFi is completely unbiased. It doesn't care who you are, where you're from, what you look like. You will get the same services no matter what, right? And it is really, part of like the sentiment that we preach.
DeFi is blooming. You know it like better than other people probably. And it's the hottest topic these days. And did you at Maker Dao ever expected this time would come so soon, like in 2020, 2018 probably even?
I would say that the use cases that has sprung out this year definitely was something that surprised me. I don't think anyone could really, predict how much this would take off. But at the same time, I'm of course very happy for like the opportunities this will bring to the space again. I feel that will bring a lot of positive stuff with it. It's also something that's brought some negative things with it. But I'm still I'm like focused on like the goal of us like actually helping like the emerging markets and developing countries, because I think that's something that we're still quite far away from. Yeah. So I must admit I'm having a lot of fun these days with everything that is happening, and I'm participating in a lot of the stuff that's going on. But I'm still like very focused on like the goal that we have of actually helping like the normal people, the everyday users. Yeah.
Just your personal opinion and your personal forecast for DeFi market in general. If it happens that it will crash, what will be the reasons and when can it happen?
I think that like every single time that something crashes, like we also saw earlier in this year with the March 12th crash that happened as well, is that like I mean, of course it's not very fun to go through. We learn a lot about it as a community, and all the projects they come out on the other side like stronger, I would say. But I think right now I think we are seeing a lot of speculation in what is going on in DeFi, in like a variety of different protocols and projects, right? And I'm afraid that some of it could potentially backfire a little bit, right? We're also seeing a lot of money being transferred around in some of the newer protocols, where like bugs could be found, right? So I always had this opinion that we would eventually see a bug in the DeFi protocol, and this is something that just seems like even more realistic of happening now, right? Where there's so much activity going on in very very new projects, because like one thing which the projects and protocols also should kind of like keep in mind is that if you have, let's say you have $100 million in your protocol, that is basically a target on your back for $100 million, right? Because whoever can, find a bug to be able to steal the money, they would earn $100 million. So when these, prices become bigger and bigger, have more and more value coming in, that also just makes it, more profitable and, more desirable for malicious actors to go in. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, we have a really, really strong open source community. So I'm of course not of that order should be, right. And we know that if something like that would happen, that would of course like scare like people for the moment, right. So if I should predict like somewhere it would go, it would probably be these newly unaudited protocols losing a lot of money, and that reflecting back on all of us.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I know that Maker has lots of interesting projects, and I would like to ask you about your Maker Foundation. What is it for, and whose idea was it about this foundation?
Yeah, so the foundation was something that was kind of was like idealized very very early, and was something that was like manifested also relatively early, right? And the whole concept for Maker Dao is that it will be a DAO, right? So a decentralized autonomous organization, basically like an online community that is governed by the people who use it, the people who have an economic interest in it, but it shouldn't be run like a private company at all. So the Maker Foundation is a non-profit foundation. It kind of like sits on like next to the protocol. We're the ones who have been developing the protocol, and we're also the ones who is currently scaling the protocol. However, the protocol is completely autonomous to us. So the whole idea was that we it's kind of like the thing like if all the Maker Foundation employees were at a plane that crashed, the protocol will still live on. And that is really the place where we want to take it, right? We want this to live on driven by the community for many years to come. And there's like several reasons for that. Of course, you in that sense, remove kind of like the centralized point of failures for having malicious actors, individuals that will act in a bad way. So but then you will have like more emphasis on like the community taking responsibility and taking jobs, kind of like working directly for the DAO. So we have some proposed to have people directly paid by the DAO itself. So you'll be paid by the protocol. And a big reason for this as well is that for example, if you take a look at the mission that we have, again, helping people in these emerging economies, I myself, I used to live in Argentina, for example, for some time, and I was very hit by the inflation. And so let's say that that DAI was something that was helping me at that time. I was in crypto back then as well, but let's say DAI, I was using DAI. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't really want the exposure to like, let's say like an American or European company. I would want something that is unbiased, immutable. I know that there's no one sitting and being able to do something on the other end. And at the same time, you also kind of like separated from like the grasps of some of the problems that we see the centralized stablecoin sitting in, right? Where, for example, Tether, there was a lot of speculation, and it was even proven that they didn't have the funds, the system that they had. And that is something that happens if you have like a private company, then things like that can happen. And at the same time, like someone like Tether or like USDC, for example, they could also, for example, be very influenced by the US regulator, because the US regulator could go in and say, you need to blacklist this address because they've been doing illegal stuff. Where like Maker in itself is completely open and immutable, right? So no one should have heightened control in the system, neither corporation or country, and no individual should have like a strong presence in it. So that is why we are over the next year and a half, more or less, we are dissolving the foundation actually. Not too far in the future. If I'm very good at my job, I will be without a job. So it's a little bit of a weird situation to work towards. But that's kind of like the purpose of the Maker Foundation. Build the protocol and take it to a level where it can scale and live by itself completely.
And I had like my traditional question as the last question, but I realized that I want to, just like you are, like your company and market in general is blooming, I want to ask you about your nearest plans. Do you have something like of course you like cannot tell me what are you planning to announce nearest days, but still, like in general, what is maybe something new, some new collaborations, or maybe some new partnership? Just give me like a short, what is your plans?
Yeah, so I'm unfortunately I can't really mention any names here, but we have been working with some very big players in regards to the African market actually. So that will be very interesting. It should hopefully be coming out here in like the next couple of months. We've been working on it for over a year now. Mm-hmm. So we have some very big news coming out in regards to Africa, which I think is probably the continent that is like the most overseen in regards to crypto. We have a very strong community in South America, Southeast Asia, a lot of trading going on in East Asia, US, Europe, of course. But Africa is kind of being left out a little bit. And this is even when, South Africa is actually the place with the most retail crypto holders per capita. Mm-hmm. So they have a lot of people holding crypto, but there's just not a lot of, general activities. So we have really been wanting to get more in on that continent, right? So we have a lot of local ambassadors around the world, some in Africa too, and now we're partnering up with some very big corporations, both international and locally, to really start promoting it a little bit more.
Wish you luck with that project and with Africa in general. Okay, my last final question is traditional question. What is your forecast for one BTC and for one Ethereum in December 2020?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I think I'm not sure we will see some crazy bull market happening. So probably around the same as it is now.
Okay, recorded. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for being with us. It was a pleasure to have you today. So thanks once again, and I hope to see you at our other video interviews soon.
Thank you very much for having me, Natalie.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye.